Yo, I'm tired, man. It is a long weekend. I'm ready for bed. I just got up. I got out of the shower. I did things like I got up at like a reasonable human being time today. I was up at like 10 something. Like that's I almost made it out of the double digits. Uh I'm so tired. I just got out of the shower. You can tell my hair's all still wet, but that's cool. We have Dumb Fact Friday this Friday, so yahoo. Yahoo for that. Uh, we have things to talk about. This is our major one for today. But before, oh, hold on, I gotta close Blue Sky. Blue Sky's got inappropriate things on it, and I wouldn't want to get in YouTube trouble. Huh. Okay, so all right, and Athens says something funny. Hold on. Athens says, "At least Chesh isn't Steve bad and set up right when the stream starts. 40 minutes of waiting and then teetering trouble-troop tech problems." Okay, one of the reasons I was a little bit like behind today is because my setup was still set up to fix Steve's setup from when we were looking at Steve's stuff. So I had to fix that real quick before we started. I'm ready for a nap. So, all right. So, I just wanted to point this one out before we got too deep into this. Um, this is USAID leaves 66,000 metric tons of food relief to rot. So like food rations that could supply 3.5 million people for a month are moldering. He's molding. Moldering in a warehouse. This isn't my new insult. When I'm arguing with people and I think they're mad, I'm gonna tell them they're moldering. Yo, this guy's moldering. In a warehouse around the world. Sorry, this isn't funny. I'm just gonna start again. Food rations that could supply 3.5 million people for a month are moldering in warehouses around the world because of U.S. aid cuts and risk becoming unusable, according to 5 people familiar with the situation. The food stocks have been stuck inside 4 U.S. government warehouses since the Trump administration's decision in January to cut global aid programs. So you'll remember, for anybody who's been following, you'll remember that I've talked about this before, where it's stuff that was already set, already made, already there, and just needed to be shipped, and it's not being shipped because they cut the aid instead of just, being rational human beings with souls and not being evil demon people and just finishing off whatever was set to be done and then rotating and taking things out, right? Like that's what a brain person would, like somebody who's got like 2 brain cells and can rub them together and isn't just causing as much chaos as possible to harm as many people as possible for profit. But no, that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with like the dregs of the evilest of society, because that's all MAGA are. That's all the Trump administration is. That's all it is. Wait, whose birthday is it? Happy birthday! We know you're Cloud X Tifa Corn. You know me too well. By the time Trish had gotten up, I had done 4 loads of laundry, driven to a car part store, changed a bulb and the cover for it, got home and decided it's too hot for this, but I am 5 hours ahead. In my defense. Happy birthday, Generic. Happy birthday, my friend. Alright. But yeah, that's all MAGA are. They're just like selfish, irrational, overly emotional, evil baby people. Like that's about it. Some stocks that are due to expire as early as July are likely to be destroyed, either by incineration, using them as animal feed, or disposing of them in other ways. Well, okay, so here's the thing, right? Fine. You want to be like America first. You want to be like, hey, this is for us and not for anybody else. And be like, hey, we care about Americans and we shouldn't be sending aid to someplace else because we've got people in America starving. Why is this food not available for Americans then? If you're not gonna send it and you would rather destroy it than just give it to the American people? No? No? Okay, Athens, I'll share. Magicus and Athens both posted some spicy ass memes today, so I'll post those after we're done reading this quick article. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, I don't think. Oh yeah, no, we will go through the whole thing. It's super short. The warehouses, which are run by USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance, the BHA. Well, listen, we don't do humanitarian here in America land anymore. We're done with that. Contains between 60,000 to 66,000 metric tons of food. Okay, but do Americans know what 66,000 metric tons are? Or do they need imperial tons? Sourced from American farmers and manufacturers. Yeah, by the way, these programs help American farmers because they buy the food that the American farmers farm and then send it to other places. Wow. Shocking. An undated inventory list for the warehouses, which are located in, I don't know how to pronounce that, South Africa, Dubai, and Houston, stated that they had contained more than 66,000 tons of commodities, including high-energy biscuits, vegetable oil, and fortified grains. So, they don't want to help those poors. Yeah, the poor rich people. Good job, Marco Rubio. Good job, Trump administration. Good job, Elon Musk. This is why nobody cares when fucking people like Steve and MAGAs fucking bitch and moan that, like, nobody's buying Teslas. Like, fuck off. Nobody cares. In other news that I wanted to share, the White House was pissy about the White House was pissy about Canada inviting Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Shut up. The president of Ukraine to the G7 meeting. Now, if anybody recalls, back in the day, the G7 used to be the G8 until Russia got kicked the fuck out. I can't imagine why Russia was kicked the fuck out of the G8, which then became the G7. But hey, listen, you figure it, Google it. Ask Grok, ask ChatGPT why Russia got yeeted out of the fucking G8. Regardless, the White House was having a pissy fit and, like, crying into their diapers about fucking Canada saying that Zelensky and Ukraine can come to Alberta where the next G7 meeting is. And there's something special about things like just nicely lining up where, like, America is trying to isolate itself. Everybody is waving goodbye, saying, okay, bye. You do that. I'm leaving, guys. I'm leaving. I'm gonna leave. I'm leaving. Bye. So long. And then the G7 meeting taking place in Canada is just like, there's a little bit of extra cherry on top, you know what I mean? So they're throwing a hissy fit about it, but now that Mark Carney has been elected the Prime Minister of Canada in the most recent Canadian election, we got this moment in Rome. Now, for anybody who doesn't know why Mark Carney was in Rome, it may or may not be related to the peace talks that were supposed to take place after Putin and Russia demanded that everybody show up and have a if we want to do peace talks, Zelensky's gotta travel and blah 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 blah, and everybody went, you're full of shit, and then America was like, no, they should meet, and everybody went, okay, and then Zelensky showed up, and Putin didn't show up because nobody's surprised that Putin didn't show up anyway. This is the conversation that took place. Let me bigify this. Can you guys see that all right? Yeah, that's okay. And let me play. This doesn't have closed captioning, I apologize, but I got it cranked, so hopefully you can hear it okay.
President, Mr. President, welcome. Welcome to this corner of Canada. And may I say, in every corner of Canada is Ukraine. The Canadian people stand in steadfast and unwavering support of your leadership, of the people of Ukraine. We admire what you're doing. We admire your commitment to peace, as you've demonstrated again this week. And we underscore that there can be no peace without the full support and participation of Ukraine.
And that was something that Trump was saying, right? Trump was like, oh, well, I'll make the deal and Ukraine doesn't have anything to say about it. On the other hand, there is no fucking... it doesn't make... Canada has been participating in this debacle, which is putting it nicely, or putting it in the most silly phrasing possible. I don't know why I'm like this. I'm not a help. send help. Canada has been on Ukraine's side the entire time. The whole time, Canada has been participating and sending assistance and helping Ukraine, and will continue to do so. And it's good for Canada to do so. It benefits us to stand with Ukraine. Duh. But this is gonna lead it. It's the same thing that we did in World War II when we were there. When fucking Germany invaded Poland, Canada was like, what? Excuse me? What are you doing? That's why the memes are just call Canada. Like that's the meme. The meme is like, if you want to fight fascists, you call Canadians. It's the down and dirty job. And who do you call to do it? Fucking these guys. But anyway, let's keep going.
You have our absolute support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister. Happy to see you.
Side note, it would have been really, really funny if Mark Carney was wearing a t-shirt. Like a golf shirt would have been, like, if they just matched t-shirts, that would have been hilarious. But we're professionals. Sorry. They're professionals.
Personally, and I wanted very much to, from the very beginning, to invite you, of course, to visit Ukraine, and I want to thank for, as you 100% rightly said, about Canadian people and unwavering support from the very beginning of this war. We're thankful to your people. And
see, since the very beginning, I'm not making shit up. I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
And of course, I want to share with you some brief about our peace talks in Turkey.
Yes.
I think that it's important. It's important when two sides want to finish the war, and we really waited for Putin, and he didn't come. We think that he's afraid of bilateral, just direct talks. But anyway, I think that the decision of exchanging of prisoners, war prisoners, is very important. 1,000 people, it's a lot. And I hope we will get this result. And of course, we have to make more pressure on Russia, on Putin, to really to make peace as quick as possible. And of course, unconditional ceasefire is very, very important. That's why we need to pressure on him, more pressure, more sanctions. We are thankful to your packages of sanctions and the European leaders, and of course, the United States of America. And I want to discuss it, and your presence in G7.
Yes.
All these things are very, very important.
The presence in the G7 and America, and they want to discuss that and the sanctions and what's going on. Yeah, of course, it makes complete sense. Like, everything Zelensky's saying is pretty much on point and pretty much what you would expect. There's nothing, like, untoward happening here.
So, happy to see you.
Very good.
The first meeting.
Yes. Thank you. Very good. So we have, as you heard from the President, many important issues to discuss very fluid situation. And one last point, I very much look forward to welcoming the President to Canada in less than a month for the G7 summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Canada invites who we want. We're not gonna capitulate to fucking Donald Trump's piss baby group of jackasses to tell us who we're allowed to have in our goddamn house. Like, that's just not going to happen. That is just not gonna be the way things are. But America has had for a long time this additional weight that's been using to pressure everyone else into participating or not participating in specific conflicts around the world. Let me explain. This is a CBC article, and as you guys know, I don't normally use CBC, but I'm also not against using CBC. People are stupid. People are stupid, and they're like, oh, you can never take anything from any source if it doesn't agree with you or you think it's biased. And it's like, a source being biased doesn't mean it's bad. Everything is biased. That's stupid. You may as well just never read anything ever. And usually the people who are saying that are the people who never read anything ever. So I guess it works. Part of me wishes Zelensky would speak in Ukrainian for these interviews so he can fully articulate his points. I think he does for a lot, but the ones that he's doing for, like, he's not talking to Ukrainians, he's talking to Canadians, right? He's talking to Americans, so he tries to adapt to their language. But yeah, listening to Zelensky speak when he's not speaking secondary or third language is definitely worth listening to. But alas, this is an example of America in a way that I would say is wholly inappropriate, throwing its weight around, and has been throwing its weight around. Let's talk about Israel and Palestine. So, the Israel-Palestine ceasefire, which was put forward and pressured by the UN, a year ago, last year, was vetoed by America. America was like, no. Is CBC more Fox or more MSNBC? It's probably, if I had to pick one, it's closer to MSNBC, but it's not really. But it's more in that direction. That's more what you would expect. It's just different because it's Canadian. It doesn't operate the same way. Anyway, different guys. Don't distract me. So, Ukrainian is Zelensky's second language, although it's the third he grew up speaking Russian. Oh, interesting. I kind of figured English was like his third or fourth language, but I wasn't 100% sure. All right, so let's talk about Israel and Palestine. This article, Canada, Britain, France threaten action if Israel does not stop military offensive and lift aid restrictions. Israel to control all parts of Gaza, Netanyahu says aid trucks wait to enter the territory. This is from May 19th. So this article just came out the other day. So obviously Israel's doing a genocide. I don't think anybody in my comment section or anybody who follows me is gonna take issue with that. There are people who do take issue with that. Those people are wrong. I don't know what to tell you. Those people are wrong. I've heard people argue this. The only argument that I see that has probably the most ridiculous argument I've seen is that, but they haven't gotten rid of all the Palestinian people, therefore it's not a genocide. And it's like, guys, we do not measure a genocide based on how successful it is. It doesn't, like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not how that works. It's about what the goal is, the intention, the stated goals, of what they're doing. So, Israel's doing a genocide, and Israel is doing war crimes. Many war crimes. So, the ceasefire that was proposed by the UN, the United Nations, was vetoed by America. America has been sending weapons to Israel and has been military supporting Israel with military aid for a long time. Like, this is not new. This is something that's been ongoing for a long time. And I'm not going to say that other nations haven't been. I'm just giving you some context. Now, when it comes to intervening as a United Nations nation, it gets really difficult when one of the most powerful nations inside of the UN, both economically and in military prowess, throws its weight in and vetoes anything that anybody wants to do to prevent Israel from genociding and bombing Gaza, right? Genociding Palestine. And so it makes it very, very difficult to intervene. Now, with America isolating itself so much, and everybody who have been shifting away from America slowly were able to pull that trigger and are starting to be like, yeah, we're not doing the F-35 agreement. We're not going to buy arms from you. There's going to be trade embargoes. A lot is happening. A lot is happening very, very quickly. Shit's going to get weird. Like, if you think shit's weird now, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get more weird. So, with America no longer being in a global position of power that it has been, it has shifted the way UN nations and other nations are able to interact with and deal with Gaza and deal with Israel doing a genocide, because I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to pretend things that are happening aren't happening because people don't like the language. Sorry, spade's a spade, motherfucker. Israel is doing a genocide on the Palestinian people. Period. End of sentence. This isn't a debate. It's a definition. All right, so let's check this article a little bit more. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Monday that Israel would control the whole of Gaza despite mounting international pressure that forced it to lift a nearly 3-month blockade on aid supplies that left the enclave at on the brink of famine. The Israeli military, which announced the start of a new operation on Friday, warned residents of the southern city of Khan, I don't know how to pronounce the second half of that, I apologize, on Monday to evacuate to the coast immediately as it prepared an unprecedented attack. The leaders of Canada, Britain, and France warned on Monday that their countries would take action if Israel does not stop a renewed military offensive in Gaza and lift aid restrictions. Quote, the Israeli government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance to the civilian population is unacceptable and risks breaching international humanitarian law, a joint statement released by the Prime Minister's office said. I would also like the Prime Minister's office would be Canada's Prime Minister. This is a CBC article, so that'll be the Canadian Prime Minister's office. So that'll be Mark Carney. I would like to add in, if you recall, there was a warrant out, if I'm not mistaken, for Netanyahu's arrest by the UN court, by judges. If I'm remembering correctly, please chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Quote, we oppose any attempt to expand settlements in the West Bank. Ellipses, we will not hesitate to take further action, including targeted sanctions, end quote. The statement came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Monday that Israel would control the whole of Gaza despite mounting international pressure that forced it to lift a blockade on aid supplies that left the enclave on the brink of famine. Quote, we strongly oppose the expansion of Israel's military operations in Gaza. The level of human suffering in Gaza is intolerable, the three Western leaders said in a joint statement, adding that Israel's announcement it will allow basic quantity of food into Gaza is wholly inadequate. Wow. Go figure. National authorities. You've got the Prime Minister of France, you've got the Prime Minister of Canada, and you have is he a Prime Minister in the UK? Is that his Prime Minister position? I think it's Prime Minister position. Or all of them are like, no, this is unacceptable and inadequate. Absolutely not. They also stated their support for the efforts led by the United States, Qatar, and Egypt for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, and said that they were committed to recognizing a Palestinian state as a contribution to achieving a two-state solution. That's just like your average politics talk. Sorry, what was that? Sorry, Feline, you lost me. By doing so, the U.S. has removed access to Microsoft Mail for the ICOJ, International Court of Justice, as a response to the arrest warrant. Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. Just for context. Oh my god. Go away. Criminal court, Microsoft's email block, a wake of call for digital sovereignty. Microsoft blocked the email account of chief prosecutor of the International Court of Justice after Trump sanctions critics, quote, "We urgently need alternatives." Microsoft is increasingly coming under fire for blocking the email account of a chief prosecutor in the International Criminal Court, the ICC, Karim Khan. U.S. President Donald Trump sanctioned the court in the, I don't know how to pronounce that, in February after a panel of ICC judges issued arrest warrants against the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant? I don't know how to pronounce that, for war crimes in the Gaza Strip in November. The court is virtually paralyzed in its work as a result, writes AP news agency. One reason for this is that it is heavily dependent on the service providers such as Microsoft. They had restricted their work for the court because they feared being targeted by the U.S. authorities. Microsoft blocked their email account without further ado. The 55-year-old Briton was thus forced to switch to the Swiss email provider Proton. ICC employees are said to have described. According to the report, Microsoft did not want to commit on this. His bank account in his home country of Great Britain were also blocked. Even employees of a civil society organization that plays a central role in gathering evidence and locating witnesses have withdrawn money from U.S. bank accounts to secure it from confiscation. Hage? Is the G a G sound? Is it Hage? God. Watch me try to learn how to pronounce things on Dapper Stream, where I learn Klingon soon, coming up to a theater near you. Anyway, yeah, so this man is under a fucking arrest warrant right now for war crimes, for, the genocide he's trying to do, and America's been protecting him. Netanyahu condemned the joint statement in a post on X. Thanks, Elon. And called it, quote, a huge prize for the genocidal attack on Israel on October 2nd. Ah, yes. Of course. Because Darvo. Because when you do something and somebody fires back at you, you say, no, see, they're doing it. Bog. Like a guh. Oh, it's a guh sound. Oh, thank you. The Israeli military, which announced the start of a new operation on Friday, warned residents in the southern city of Khan on Monday to evacuate to the coast immediately as it prepared for, quote, an unprecedented attack. Quote, there is huge fighting going on, intense and huge. Why does this sound like Trump? There's a huge fight going on, it's intense, huge, big, beautiful bombs. We are going to control all parts of Gaza, Netanyahu said in a video message. In it, he pledged to achieve, quote, complete victory, end quote, with both the release of the 58 hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza and the destruction of the Palestinian militant group. Even as the military warned of the attack, Reuters reporters saw aid trucks heading towards northern Gaza after Netanyahu was forced to agree to allow a limited amount of aid into Gaza in response to global concern at the reports of famine. Wow, go figure. It's almost like outrage and military and pressure from outside countries does something. Picture is of Palestinians inspecting the site of an Israel strike in southern Gaza on Monday. Netanyahu said the U.S. senators he has known for years as supporters of Israel, quote, our best friends in the world. We're telling him the scenes of hunger were draining vital support and bringing Israel close to a, quote, red line to a point where we might lose control, end quote. Oh, really? Swaying public opinion and controlling the narrative by lying to the global community? I've never seen that before. Ooh. Forced to allow limited aid. Yes. Quote, it is for that reason... Sorry, I'll elaborate once we get more into this. Quote, it is for that reason, in order to achieve victory, we have to somehow solve the problem, end quote, he said in a message apparently addressed to far-right hardliners in his government who have insisted aid be denied to Gaza. What? Far-right extremists in a government? Oppressing people? No. It's definitely Palestine doing a genocide on Israel. That's, yeah, guys. Yeah, alright. Sure. But the terrorist group is hiding behind normal citizens, then work around it. Good God. The United Nations has long said Gaza needs at least 500 trucks of aid and commercial goods every day. The World Food Program has said more than 116,000 metric tons of food, enough to feed 1 million people for up to 4 months, was standing ready to be brought in. However, it remained unclear how much aid would be allowed in and how it would be distributed before the launch of a US-sponsored plan to employ private contractors to distribute aid, which the United Nations and other aid groups have rejected. Good! You don't get to fucking send mercenaries in that we don't know who they are, that are going to profit off of fucking human suffering to fucking do... No! Absolutely. Are you insane? Fuck you, America. Actually, go fuck yourselves. Aid cleared to enter a drop in the ocean, UN chief. The Israeli military said 5 trucks had entered Gaza on Monday, although UN aid officials said 9 trucks had been cleared to enter, a quantity UN chief Tom Fletcher described as a drop in the ocean. Israeli military spokesperson Nadav said it would take time to create a situation where hundreds of trucks were able to enter daily, but added, quote, I think that's also a decision for the political echelon of how many will come in, end quote, he told reporters. Israel strikes have killed more than 500 people in the past 8 days as the military campaign has intensified, with at least 40 people killed on Monday, according to local medical workers. One of the strikes killed 7 at a school housing displacement families in central Gaza, and 3 in a house nearby Deir, local health authorities said. Militant leader killed in undercover raid. The military said it hit 160 targets, including anti-tank positions, underground infrastructure, and a weapons storage point, as part of what it has dubbed Operation Gideon's Chariots. Fucking stupid-ass names. On Monday... Why are you trying to make your fucking military... Whatever. On Monday, residents and medics said an Israeli undercover force disguised as displaced persons killed Ahmed Sarhan, a commander of the Popular Resistance Committees, a militant group allied with Hamas, in a raid in the city of Khan. Residents said Ahmed fought the force before he was killed, and that Israelis detained his wife and children before retreating in a bus towards the eastern border with Gaza under cover fire from planes. Quote, as you can see, they entered, opened a hole in the wall, entered the house, and executed the father and took an 11-year-old child and his mother and left, said an eyewitness referring to the PRC commander. The foreign minister of 22 countries, including Canada, released a statement on Monday asking Israel to follow, quote, full resumption of aid into Gaza immediately and enable UN and humanitarian aid operations to, quote, work independently and impartially. Quote, whilst we acknowledge indications of a limited restart of aid, Israel blocked humanitarian aid entering Gaza for over 2 months, the statement said. Quote, food, medicine, and essential supplies are exhausted. The population faces starvation. Gaza's people must receive the aid they desperately need, end quote. Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand posted on X, Twitter, Monday afternoon that there is an urgent need for the release of all hostages and an immediate ceasefire and the resumption of aid. Ceasefire talks appear to wane. As the fighting has intensified, hopes of a ceasefire appear to be waning. The White House said U.S. President Donald Trump... Why do we fucking care what this man says about anything? I hate that we have to care what this dipshit says about anything ever. Like, fucking nothing he says matters. We should really stop caring about anything Donald Trump says about anything ever, and we should just look at what they're doing and just ignore whatever he's saying out loud. Let the politicians take whatever Donald says seriously and deal with that within reason. And the news should just focus on what America is doing, because everything this man says changes. It doesn't matter. Nothing he says makes any fucking sense most of the time anyway. This man is drooling and delusional. Fuck him. Who cares what he said? What is the White House doing? Anyway, the White House said the U.S. President Donald Trump continued to engage with both sides, but sources on both sides said there has been no progress. Wow. Shocking. In a new round of indirect ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas and Qatar. Wow, it's almost like Donald is completely ineffectual as a mediator or a negotiator. Who would have thought? Former Defense Minister, Yov? Who left wait, his last name is Gallant? Wait, did they name this after him? Oh, God. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about, the psychological and social implications of that, because that's a lot to fucking unpack. So I'm just gonna note that that's a thing and then move on. I'll let you guys think about that. Ruminate. Whilst I illuminate. Who left the government last year after falling out with Netanyahu, said the fact Hamas remains in Gaza represented a, quote, resounding failure for the Israeli campaign and reflected the government's failure to plan for the future of the enclave. Netanyahu said ceasefire discussions touched on a fresh truce and hostage deals, as well as a proposal to end the war in return for the exile of Hamas militants and the demilitarization of Gaza. Why in the flying fuck would Palestine and Gaza ever agree to demilitarize while you're trying to murder them all? And I'm saying murder because I don't mean killing, I mean murder. Murder is the unjustified killing of people. What is happening in Gaza is not justified. And hasn't been justified. And likely can't be justified within any real scenario, within reason. So, what the fuck do you mean demilitarize? That's like telling Taiwan to demilitarize while China's like pew 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 pew. That's like telling fucking Canada to demilitarize while fucking America's like, we're gonna take you should be the 51st state. That's like telling Ukraine that the only way to stop the war in fucking Ukraine for Russia to stop is if fucking Ukraine demilitarizes. And guess what got them invaded in the first place? Them demilitarizing. And then fucking America just betrayed them and completely stabbed them in the fucking back. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Terms previously rejected by Hamas. Yeah, no shit they rejected that. That's wholly unreasonable. Good fucking God. The US literally do this to natives. I think everybody did that to natives. Fucking bads, dude. Bad times, man. 100%. Senior Hamas official, Sami, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, blamed Israel for the lack of progress at the talks and said escalating its offensives would be, quote, a death sentence for remaining hostages. Yeah? Like, what did you expect? You're trying to do peace talks while you're bombing them? Israel is doing the exact fucking thing that Russia is doing to Ukraine, but it's more extreme. If Ukraine has help, Ukraine has had help. Palestine has not. Israel's ground and air war has devastated Gaza, displacing nearly all its residents and killing more than 53,000 people, many of them civilians, according to Gaza health authorities. The war erupted after Hamas-led militants attacked Israeli communities near Gaza's border on October 7, 2023, killing about 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and seizing 251 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. I don't agree with this. This is something that has been going on since, 1971? So to hearken this back to, like, this war erupting from this instigating event, I don't think history is going to agree with this take. Yeah, 1917, essentially, yeah. So, like, and if you want to go really far back, I don't think history is going to agree with this being like, the main catalyst. I don't think this is going to be the Franz Ferdinand, you know what I mean, of this scenario. But alas, I have a sneaking suspicion. So this is what I was going to elaborate on. I have a sneaking suspicion that Netanyahu does not want to allow aid from the UN into Gaza because he's indiscriminately bombing it. He's saying it's to target Hamas, and then once in a while targeting somebody and giving out information that is not reliable. We can't trust Netanyahu. We can't trust the Israeli government and what they're putting out. We know that they lie. We know that they've been lying. We know that they're going to try to manipulate and control the narrative. That's why internet is turned off in Gaza right now. Right? Why that got shut off. Electricity, water. These are war crimes. Donald Trump moving America away from the UN and isolating America might be one of the best things that have ever happened to Palestine because it has freed up France, Britain, and Canada to actually step into these positions of power and start putting pressure on Israel. And as you can see, as soon as they started putting pressure on Israel, they folded immediately. They were like, oh shit. I don't think Netanyahu wants UN, Canada, Britain, and France to be sending aid or to begin participating, because if they begin participating and Netanyahu wants to indiscriminately bomb, he's going to kill France, Britain, and Canadian soldiers, or peacekeepers, or aid relief people. And as soon as that happens, now Netanyahu is fighting Canada, Britain, and France, which they don't want. Again, Israel doesn't fund this war by itself, right? It doesn't have the ability to do that, right? So, like, Netanyahu's reasoning is that Hamas are seizing the aid and selling it at great profit on black market, using the proceeds to buy missiles. Okay, then let the UN do its job. If you let the UN do its job and show up and deliver it, and you let Doctors Without Borders, and you let Canadian, Britain, and France peacekeeping forces enter into Gaza, they will be able to assist in ensuring that's not happening and the people who are getting the food are getting the food. It's an awfully convenient excuse, is what I mean to say. I'm not saying that Huxgall's wrong, because I know what Huxgall's saying. But this is the kind of shit we're talking about. This is what we're getting at. The situation doesn't have a Franz Ferdinand. Exactly. It's so fucking manufactured. April is 100% right. Except that it was definitely Great Britain. Once upon a time when Great Britain was doing everything all over the world and causing problems everywhere they went. They can let the journalists in too while they're at it. Yeah. Yeah. This is what I mean when they say things like this. Like, look at this shit. Where is it? It was right under here, right? Netanyahu said U.S. senators he has known for years as supporters of Israel, quote, our best friends in the world, were telling him the scenes of hunger were draining vital support and bringing Israel close to, quote, quote, red line to a point where we might lose control. What do you think lose control means? What do you think they're controlling? They're controlling the fucking narrative, draining support when people see what's going on. Because nobody actually supports this shit. Quote, it is for that reason, in order to achieve victory, we have to somehow solve the problem, end quote, he said in a message apparently addressed to far-right hardliners in his government who have insisted aid be denied to Gaza. What do you think is coming down the line for America, guys? With your far-right extremists in government? Guys, it's this. When I keep saying that that America things are gonna get weirder, things are gonna get worse, that America doesn't understand how bad shit is about to get for them, that's what I'm talking about. There's going to be famine and drought and mass disease in America in the next 5 years. And I do not doubt for a sec, like, I watched Mark Carney on the fucking trail, right? I watched him on his campaign. I watched more than what I streamed about, right? And there were a couple times where he mentioned Palestine and Israel and Gaza, and he likened Israel and Palestine to Russia and Ukraine, where Palestine is Ukraine, and then he proceeded to liken it to what America is doing to Canada. You want to motivate Canadians? That's how you motivate Canadians. And if that shift and talking this and changing this in saying this is a humanitarian crisis shifts the narrative and takes it out of Netanyahu's control, where in Netanyahu's presentation of this information and presentation of what's going on, which we know is bullshit, is that it's a war on terror. Shit's going to get bad, and here's the thing. It's not bad yet. It's not bad enough yet in America. It's not. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's bad enough, but the American people don't. The American people do not see it that way. Some American people do, but not enough. It's not affecting enough people bad enough yet for change to come in. And change comes in when when whatever you're doing is less comfortable than how uncomfortable change can be. And America's not at that spot yet. They're not there. And I don't know how long it's going to be before they're. I don't know. Golden age, I guess. But it's a massive grift opportunity for nasty people. Yeah. This shit's evil. It's evil. And like, the people that are doing evil are have such an easy time calling others and accusing others of being evil. Like Elon Musk calling Matt Waltz evil for talking about Tesla stock. He's like, what an evil thing to do. Like, what's his problem? It's like, oh gee, I don't know, maybe it's the 66,000 metric tons of food rotting away while people are starving when it was already set up and sent and paid for, that you're just pissing down the drain, causing people to, die, Elon. Maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. Based on what I know about people I work with, we're fucked. I've heard a few stories about that. Like, I've heard, like both people in my real life and people online have told me that, like, the people... Yeah, Tim Walls? What did I say? Did I say Waltz? Walls. Yeah, thank you. I've heard that from people in my real life, and people online, that they're saying, like, the people in their workplaces are very much, like... When you're online, you have an access to a lot of information, and it's kind of easy to tell a dipshit when a dipshit comes by just a troll. But online, like offline, people who are not, like, you're not going to see these articles unless you're going to look for them, and people don't always have time to look for those articles, right? So, I said Matt. Oh, Tim. Sorry, yeah, I meant Tim. I apologize. I said Tim Walls. I mean Tim. Tim's a funny guy. We like Tim here. Okay, so I have 2 memes to show you guys real quick. Because I feel like it's appropriate. Let me just open these real quick. The first one is from Athens, and the second one is from Magicus. And I want to show you guys real quick. And I thought these were great. I thought these were fantastic. Let me, and I'll end on these because, we like to have a funny time here. We like to have a funny haha laugh at the end of all that awful. We're probably going to talk about it a little bit more on Debate Pub, not this Saturday, next Saturday on the 31st. So go, Debate Hub official, go subscribe over there, and you'll be able to see a little bit more of it. Where you're gonna get like a little bit more of an elaboration on sort of some of what's gone on and such. And as such, I guess. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. That's gonna be it today because I think that's enough. I think that's enough to talk about. Like, good God, and it's pretty fucked up. So, but thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. We talk about these things on a regular basis. I'm gonna be doing a more relaxed Monday show where we're gonna be able to chat and hang out. And yeah, I did want to mention this. I finally fixed my nails. It's only taken me like 6 months to finally get them fixed. But look at that. Look at they're so fancy. Look at they're so nice. It's taken me forever to get them fixed since I got a manicure last Christmas, I think. And it completely screwed my nails up. And they are now finally fixed. This is the first time I've painted my nails in like months. So, yahoo! So it's nice that they're all fixed. They're all strong again. They're not like peeling and flaking and chipping all over the place. And maybe one day I'll tell you guys my secret. I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, consider becoming a member, enjoy the emojis, help me hit that 4K. I want to hit that 5, man. I'll be over on Dapper Stream soon, and Slice Barcane is going to be joining us as well over on Debate Pub. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.